Good evening, everybody. My name is Geraldine French. I'm the head of School of Language, Literacy and Early Childhood Education, and I'm going to talk to you about the Masters of Education in Early Childhood Education. So I'm just going to share a screen now and bring up the slides. I should also say that I am joint chair of this particular programme, and I teach into the Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, which is our undergraduate degree for those working in early childhood settings outside of the primary school. But my co-chair is Fiona Giblin, and she teaches into the early childhood element of the primary degree in education. So I'm going to talk to you, I should probably say, welcome aboard and to this presentation. So I'm just going to go through very roughly what the Masters is about, the kind of conceptual themes that underpins it, the structure of the modules, and the student supports. So off we go. So it is, as all of the other Masters, a level 9 of the qualifications framework. It has 90 credits. It is part-time. It is of 2 years duration. It is blended. So some of the modules, and I will explain which, are online, and some of the modules are face-to-face. And of course, we went through a rigorous quality assurance process with both national and international panels when we were having the programme accredited. Okay, so these are the conceptual themes. Those of you that are watching, if you're interested in early childhood education, you will know the importance of relationships and building solid, supportive and stable relationships with very young children. As a result, we put communicating at the centre of the work. Equally, you've just heard from Neil and Elizabeth, you know, families now embrace a whole wealth of diversity from different cultures, but also different children, of course, can be neurodiverse. And as a result, we embrace this diversity, but we also need to be able to practice appropriately. So understanding social justice, equality and inclusion is critically important. In terms of practicing reflectively and ethically, we believe that it's really important that educators have a very good understanding of what it is they do and why it is that they do it. And that ultimately we are seeking participation of young children in all of our interactions. In terms of leading professional practice, we conceptualize that as fostering learning in communities of practice. In terms of leading and management change, we conceptualize that as activism and engagement with children's interests at heart. And that is for children themselves, their families, the settings, nationally, internationally, and indeed globally. Okay, so this is how the structure of the programme is laid out. In semester 1, in year 1, there are 2 modules. Now, those 2 modules in the first semester are of 7 weeks duration. So each one lasts for 7 weeks, but it's from 6 to 9 on a Tuesday and a Thursday evening. Now, the first module, Leading and Mentoring for Professional Practice, because we recognise that this is a key kind of requirement for the sector. And actually, one of the beauties of this particular programme is that it connects professional practice in early childhood settings with the early years of primary school. In this particular module, EC 912 is held online. So that's on a Tuesday evening. And then the next module, which is delivered by my colleague Fiona Giblin and I, in terms of curriculum and pedagogy in early childhood education, that one is face-to-face because we have a lot of hands-on and interactive experiences that need to happen. So then in semester 2, there are 3 modules. So you've got 2 modules that support either quantitative or qualitative research methods. The qualitative research methods is online. The quantitative research methods is typically face-to-face. And with the quantitative research methods, there is sometimes an element that may be a Saturday. And equally with children's participation, it is face-to-face. typically, well, haven't decided yet whether it's going to be a Tuesday or a Thursday. I think it'll probably be a Thursday, but there may be an element of Saturdays. Typically, these are negotiated with the group, the students themselves. There's also in July of that first year, there's a very exciting summer school, and that is most definitely face-to-face. And that is led by Professor Matthias Urban, who is associated here with the Early Childhood Research Centre. And that looks at contesting current discourses and looks at critical theory and is really, really interesting. Students find it really engaging. And you do everything, the entire module is encompassed, including the assessment within that particular week. And then in the final year, you get to feed your passion. And that is whatever it is that interests you in terms of research. So that is typically, there are elements, of course, that we ask you to come together, maybe to give us an update on where you're at. And at the beginning, we will love to get together to help through ethical procedures and so forth. But in the main, that's on your own steam, in the sense that you connect with your supervisor, you meet them regularly, and that can be face-to-face or can be online. That depends on the circumstances that you're in. But what's interesting is for this year's cohort, we have all sorts of projects to do with looking at the perspectives of educators on emergent and inquiry-based learning. We have a number of teachers who are implementing a story time approach. It's almost a professional development approach. We have another teacher who is engaging parents in the classroom and running a really successful engagement program with them in terms of early literacy in areas designated as disadvantaged. Okay, so what do we have in terms of student supports? I have to say I've come from another institution and the supports in DCU are second to none. And I'm hoping that you can read those for yourselves. You know, we've career offices, chaplaincy, disability services, placement services, student learning advice centre, life coaching. But actually what isn't included on this list is the phenomenal supports that the libraries give us. And I probably should also explain that, you know, we don't just expect you to come in and absolutely be able to engage in academic writing. For some people, that can be quite a time since you've last written. So we do take very much a step-by-step approach. And for example, you know, we will have inbuilt writing workshops. So for the first modules that you do with Fiona and I, you know, we will ensure that there's lots of writing supports, and then you get feedback, very substantial feedback to help you in terms of the rest of your journey. Okay, I think that's enough, and I shall just ask at this point if there's any questions. And okay, I can see that. Thank you. Paul has just said that I'm here. Typically, what percentage of applicants get a place on this course? Okay, well, providing you meet the requirements, which is that you have a level 8 undergraduate degree in education or a related field. So, you know, that could be psychology, some cognate field. And that you have some experience of working with young children. That's the kind of the main criteria. Just off the top of my head, to the best of my knowledge, I think last year we got something like 16 applicants, and we offered 12 places. We do also offer a circumstance where if you have experience, but maybe you have a level 7, we offer a kind of an entry facility where you can just specified kind of purposes entry. Okay, thank you. Has anybody else got typically, okay, having already completed the Bachelor of Education and been successful with you in the Master's of Education, would career opportunities open up to return to St. Pat's in a tutor lecturer position? Absolutely. Currently on our early childhood team, now if we take the broad, there's 12 of us. 6 on the Bachelor of Early Childhood, and there are 6 on the early ed program of primary school. Let me see. We have 3 people who are graduates of what was the Masters of Education here. Of course, we want to support people. And in fact, you can quite often, if it suits, we're always looking for tutors as well to work with our students on placement. So yes, I think is the absolute answer.